All right, everybody, welcome back to Defy Aging. I'm Coach Allison, and we've got week 45. All right, and we also have a new warm up and cool down this week. So be ready for your session to go a little longer than normal because it's just a new warm up and cool down takes a little longer to review because it's just new for everybody. But I hope you enjoy it. This week we have 7 stations, but you're only going to rotate around the space one time. And the way that's going to work is that when you're at each station, you're actually going to complete all 3 rounds of, you're going to complete 3 rounds at that station all at once. Okay, so you're going to do a 45-second, 35-second round, and you're going to complete a 35-35 round and a 25-35 round, all at that exercise, at that station. After that third one, then you're going to rotate, complete those 3 intervals at that next station, rotate, complete those 3 there, rotate. So you really only rotate once at each exercise. You do 3 rounds all at once and move. Anyway, you get the gist. It might sound a little confusing. It'll make sense once you're kind of in it and you get the first round done. So again, 7 exercises. Let's review them. Station 1 is a high plank, and that is a plank on your hands instead of your elbows, and that looks like this. Okay, so you still want level hips, and so with this, you're up a lot higher off the floor than when you're on your elbows, right? So there's more space there. So there's just more room to kind of unknowingly sink your hips down. So be really careful you're not doing this. Okay, so hips are level. That's a lot of ab strength right there. But it's also important we're not doing, what we always remind you to do, not to do, and that's we don't want the hips too high. So right in the middle. It's important that we have hands and wrists stacked right below shoulders. And what I mean by that is we don't want to be too far back like this. Okay? And another option for that is an incline option, of course. And that would be up on one of the benches. Okay, so taking you up on an incline, that just reduces the demand required on the abs. So, okay, so but still, we still don't want to be sunken down too low, and we still don't want butt up, hips up too high. So we still want that nice level body position. Only caveat here, it is a lot of pressure on the hands and wrists. So anyone that might have a little discomfort with wrists or hand pressure there, feel free to go down to the elbows, forearms, like a standard elbow plank, and that can be your plank variety this week. Next station is a little different. It's a high-low squat. So the past 2 weeks we've worked on like this racked position. 1 week was with kettlebells. Last week was with dumbbells. So we're going to keep going with a dumbbell rack position, but one arm is up, one arm is down, hence the high-low name of it. The low one's easy. It's just, well, not easy, but I mean, it's just hanging down at your side. But the high one is the dumbbell rack position. So just like last week, bring it up here, palm turned in. Don't let it actually rest on your shoulder. Just kind of hover it right there. We don't want the elbow kind of flared out like this. The elbow is sort of pointing forward, like your elbow is kind of like an arrow pointing forward. And we do some squats. It's going to feel a little different because we have weights, 2 weights, but they're in different positions. Remember that high weight, the racked weight, isn't dipping down like this. We do want it to stay up, handle parallel to the floor. Halfway through the set, your coach will call out halfway. We're going to switch arm positions. So one arm will then, the other arm will go up, the other arm will go down. You can definitely choose to do no weights and switch it to body weight only for squats. That is definitely an option, but let's give this high-low squat a try. Okay, next up is grapevine. Haven't done this in a while. It's little cardio, little agility. The cardio level might depend on just how fast you're going. So some people might get more agility out of it. Some people might get a little more cardio out of it, or it's all good. I don't have a lot of space in your frame here, so I can't do too many examples in one direction. But if you recall, grapevine is kind of the footwork where we go, one leg goes behind, and then that same leg's now going to go in front, and then behind and in front. And then if I switch direction here, okay. So your feet are kind of crissy-crossing, but it's so important that you have some loose hips here, some hip movements like this. Because if you're not allowing your hips to move, kind of sway, you're going to be tripping over your feet. If your hips are staying very rigid and you're strictly, oh, there's a hole in the floor. Oh my goodness. Okay. There's a dip in the floor. If your hips are staying very rigid and you're strictly trying to just cross your feet and legs like this, it's really going to be challenging. So you need to allow your hips to sort of, in your body to turn. See, now I can more easily make my legs cross because my body and my hips are turning. I'm allowing my hips and my body to open up and turn from one direction to the next. I hope that makes sense. Once you get the movement down, try to speed it up a little bit to add a little more of that cardio effect to it. And yeah, that's our grapevine. Alternating row from a box is the next one. This one, you might have to have a couple of, like we have these boxes set up. I just grabbed this one because it's already at the right height for me. These ones are nice because you can change very easily. Take one off, add another one to change the height. You might want to have those set up at your club. For most people, the same height should work, but if you have a 5'4" person and then a 6' person back, they would want different box heights. If that makes sense, because you want to be in about like a flat back position. Like this would be okay, up this high would be okay, but I wouldn't want to be like down this low, and I wouldn't want to be up this high. I hope that makes sense. So you might want to have some different easy to swap out options for box heights. Anyways, get your feet like right up to it. This is nice because I can actually put my feet slightly under. But if I didn't have an under, I would put my toes right up to it because you want to be as close to the kettlebells as possible. Get in that bent position where you're almost like a deadlift. You pop your hips back and lean forward. So I have this nice flat back. We're not simply like crouching down like this. Okay, now watch how I fix this. I'm going to pop my hips out, flatten my back. Okay, I'm going to row one kettlebell up, rest it back down, row the other one up. Now, I'm fully resting one back down on the box while I row the other one. But notice how I'm not allowing my body to dip. See how I'm not like allowing this elbow to dip down? So maybe I should show you slightly from the front. Okay, slightly from the front. So I'm keeping a nice strict straight arm with the arm that I'm not rowing. It's very important. So yes, I'm resting this one down, but I'm not fully like, letting my body dip down or letting the elbow bend. That's very important. So rowing one arm at a time, that back row, focusing on those muscles kind of up in the back here, slow and steady, not going for speed, and have some box height options for different heights people. All right, next station is underhand push down with the band. So tricep push down. We do tricep push downs here and there. The normal standard, whatever word, grip is overhand like this. So palm is facing away from you. Okay, and it looks like this, right? I don't know why I'm out of breath. We're going to turn it supine grip, so underhand. All we're going to do is flip the grip like this, okay? It does make it harder. It's a harder grip for this. So you might, if normally you're back here that make that resistance harder, I'd suggest stepping in a little. So keep that fingernail, when you're starting, fingernails are facing you, if that helps. Underhand grip. And press down. Elbows stay glued to your side. Okay. So that means we don't want to let the full arm like raise like this. That is what we're doing. Only joint moving is the elbows, not the shoulders. Watch out for wrists. Wrists are going to want to bend. So let me pull up my sleeve so you can see my wrists. So we want a straight, strong wrist. See at the bottom, my wrist isn't bending. The urge here is going to want to probably do this. And like the wrist has an icky bend in it. So try to avoid this and instead lock that wrist in straight. It's actually like all part of the exercise, part of the movement. So underhand grip, tricep push down. Next up is box squat jumps. So bench works okay. Those red boxes are probably maybe a little better, but either is fine. So we're combining a box squat, which is coming down, taking a full seat like a squat, okay, coming up, and a jump squat, okay? We're combining both those. So Take a full sit down, come up with a light little jump, full sit, little jump, full sit. Okay, so there's a couple things to keep in mind. Yes, we're doing a jump, but we're not going like all out crazy because we need to add some element of control here. By that, I mean, I'm going to go to the side a little bit here of myself. By that, I mean, we are taking a full seat, but we're not like, oh God, I don't want to, this is an important reason why. I'm not leaning back first, so I'm not like leaning back to get momentum, okay? We're not lifting the feet to get momentum, okay? It's all very controlled. So I'm doing my jump, sit, jump, sit, jump, sit. So think of that sit as like a reset, but I'm not leaning back and using a huge like thrusting, like a back swing and a thrust to get up. So think of like, again, think of that sit as almost like a reset. You're sitting and then you just decide for some reason to jump up. Because we need an element, again, we need an element of control here. If you swing back too far, you're gonna tip off the back. So anyway, the jump is very, very gentle. It really, really is. And especially because we have that cushion landing with the bench, with the seat. So it's even more gentle than a regular jump squat. So I encourage everyone to try it. But I know we completely understand we have people with restrictions, knees, backs, all sorts of things. And the jumps aren't right for everybody. So in that case, let's turn it to a box squat with a little bit of speed. So take that full sit, try to power up without a jump. Okay, I'm adding a little power. Okay, kind of an explosive stand. So that'll be our option for anyone leaving out the jumps. Last one is an incline chest press. We don't typically do this. I'm going to have the coaches bring in an incline bench into the space, have it all set up and ready. So it's already got you in the right body position, an incline. This one, I don't like this. It has a weird foot thing. I don't think it's anyway, recline on it. Chest is out. Arms are slightly out. Dip those elbows down just a little. We don't want them flaring way out like this. This is a chest press like we typically do on the floor. So I know you're all familiar with the movement. It is going to feel different on a bench because on a bench, you don't have the floor there to stop your elbows from going deeper. The floor is there normally. So if that makes sense. So now my elbows can go deeper like this. We don't actually want them to go that deep. So got to use a little self-control. Stop the elbows when they just kind of go a little bit past your body, if you can sort of feel that. We don't want them to go as far down as possible. That's too much stretch through your chest. Okay, so if it helps, you should always be able to see the dumbbells in your peripheral vision. What I mean by that is I let my elbows dip down as far as they can, and I'm looking straight up with my eyeballs, I can no longer see the dumbbells in my like peripheral vision. If I raise them up just a little, oh, now I can see them, and that's good. We don't want the elbows to dip down that far. So that's a safety tip for your shoulders, trying to keep a safer range of motion on your shoulders. But anyway, we're pressing up, bringing the weights slightly inward over the chest. Okay, so we're not just pressing straight up like this and leaving that big gap there. We do want them to come slightly inward, and that keeps better control over the dumbbells. If they're out here too wide, it's too much possibility for them to kind of lose control. Okay, control nice and slow up and down. And the safest way when you're done with the set, kind of bring them in and sit up with them. Okay, so I know sometimes the coaches have brought the incline benches in as an alternative to the floor. So many of you might have done the incline bench before, but many of you have not. This might be new for a lot of us. So I hope you enjoy it. All right. And we are going to forego a team builder, pardon me, this week due to the new warm-up and new cool-down. We know those take a little bit longer to get through when they're new for the couple of months. So no team builder this week. And I hope you enjoyed the workout itself and the new warm-up and cool-down. And we will bring a team builder back next week in week 46, and hope everyone enjoyed this week's workout.